There's a story that I'm surprised that I am as interested in as I am. This is the rumor, now months-long rumors, of a divorce between Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. Now, if you have not been following this story, you might think you were just transported back to 2003 or something. No, you haven't been. Ben Affleck dated J-Lo back in the early 2000s. Then they were engaged at one point, famously. They did that a terrible movie together, Geely, and it was a big tabloid thing. Then they break up. Ben Affleck gets married to another actress, Jennifer Garner. He's married to her for 13 years, from 2005 to 2018. Then they break up, and he starts dating J-Lo again a few years ago, and then they got married, and now the rumor is they might get divorced. Why do I care about this story? Because it reminds me of words of a great poet-philosopher, Don Henley. The words are, "There's danger in the embers, and you have only yourself to blame if you get burned when you try to rekindle that old flame." And you skip down a few stanzas. "Speak to me plain, tell me the truth. Is it really me you miss, or just your long-lost youth?" The J-Lo Ben Affleck story, it speaks to me, in part because I was a kid when they were a big tabloid feature when they were dating. And then I thought it was so weird. Oh man, you were just married to this other woman for 13 years and then you're going back to your old flame. And then what do you know? It doesn't actually work out. Why? Because time moves only in one direction. And we are pulled back by nostalgia. And nostalgia is a really insidious temptation. Nostalgia, my friend Father George Rutler says, nostalgia is history after a few drinks. Oh, it all seems so rosy in retrospect. But nostalgia can be a real danger because you can't go backwards in time. This is actually an area where the liberals and the progressives are probably a little more grounded to reality than the conservatives are a lot of the time. It pains me to say it because the leftists are not all that grounded to reality on pretty much any other issue. But on this one, they are. And it's that time only moves forward. I joke and I say, I'd like to go back not to 2012, but to 1220. And I do. I look into the past. I see there are a lot of great things about the past, but I don't actually want to get in a time machine. I just want to reestablish certain conditions and rehabituate people to certain behaviors and beliefs in the present, but moving forward, because time only moves in one direction. You know, for Christians, for those of us in the West. The Eastern religions don't really believe in time the way that we believe in time. They think time can be cyclical, or there can be cycles of reincarnation, or certain pagan groups thought that time was kind of eternal, you know, and that nothing really ever changes, and the universe is eternal, and there are all sorts of views on it. But that's not what Christians believe. Christians believe the universe was created. There's an act of creation. We know how the story begins. We know the turn of the story. The pivot of history is the incarnation and the crucifixion and the resurrection. We know how the story ends. And we know it will end one day in the apocalypse. We got to fill in the gaps in the meantime, but the time moves in one direction. Marriage here, in fact, the Christians raise it to a sacrament. Christ raises it to a sacrament. It says marriage is a symbol between Christ and his church, Christ the bridegroom, the church the bride, and it's a symbol of Christ's love for his church. So that marriage, from the Christian perspective, is permanent. And it moves in one direction. And as we lose our Christian sense of society, you're going to see, as you are seeing, a lot more divorce. But you're also going to see a lot more nostalgia, kind of paradoxically, I suppose. Because you're going to see people forgetting that you got to move forward. This is a very important thing for us here at the Daily Wire. We got to move forward. We got to build the future. We don't want the libs to build the future. We don't want the progressives to build the future. We want to build the future that we want to see in keeping with the best of our traditions and moving in the direction that we ought to move. What better way to celebrate America's birthday than with 100% American meat? GoodRanchers.com is the #1 place to get 100% American meat for this uniquely American holiday. Celebrate the sweet taste of freedom with savory meats conveniently delivered right to your door. Whether you're hosting a backyard barbecue, a poolside party, or a beach bonfire, Good Ranchers has you covered. Right now, you can save on Good Ranchers meat like never before. Subscribe to any Good Ranchers box and get $100 off, plus free smoked brats for a year. Our listeners can get this special offer by going to GoodRanchers.com using promo code Knowles. This is more than just a great deal. It's a chance to celebrate America by supporting American family farms and enjoying the highest quality American meat. All you have to do to claim this offer is go to GoodRanchers.com and subscribe to any of their custom curated boxes filled with 100% American beef, chicken, pork, or wild-caught seafood. Use code Knowles at checkout to claim your $100 off and free smoked brats for a year. That is goodranchers.com, promo code Knowles. Goodranchers.com, American meat delivered. We'll blitz through the latest round of bad polls for Biden because it's very newsworthy, but then it tells you about all the machinations. The political ground right now is moving very, very quickly under our feet, and nobody really knows what's going to happen. But the reason that the ground is moving is because Biden showed himself to be half a dead guy during that national debate, and the polls are reflecting that. So these are some of the earliest polls that have come out after the presidential debate. USA Today's Suffolk University poll shows 41% of Democrat voters want Joe Biden to drop out of the 2024 race. Now, okay, that's the headline that everyone's reporting. However, the flip side of that is 51% of Democrats want him to remain on the ticket. So it's not good for a guy who's an incumbent and who's supposed to be the nominee of the party. 51% seems low, but it's a bare majority. And so Democrats, if you remove Biden now, that is a threat to our democracy. How dare you undermine our sacred, beautiful democracy? You can't. He's your nominee. No takebacks. You got to stick with him. The poll also shows only 28% of Biden's supporters said that he won the debate. You know, usually after these things, a guy could show up on stage, start speaking gibberish, and bang his head against the podium. His partisans will still say he won the debate. Well, here, Biden's performance was so bad, just a little over a quarter of his own supporters say he won the debate. And then when you look at independents, 64% of independent voters want Biden replaced on the ballot. So these are people who theoretically could vote for Biden, not the hard partisan Republicans you're never going to win, not the hard partisan Democrats you're never going to lose. It's those independents that both parties are going to fight over. A clear majority of them say they want Biden gone. There's another poll, CBS News YouGov shows 72% of registered voters believe that Joe Biden does not have the mental and cognitive health to serve as president. Almost 3/4 of registered voters think that this man's brain has turned to mush and he can't even do the job today of being president, much less get a second term. Why that matters is not that people recognize Biden's in decline. Some of us have pointed that out for some years now. It's the movement, because they took this same poll back on June 9th. Only 65% of registered voters said that Biden was senile and not fit to be president. So that's a huge number too. But then you see a spike like that, a 7% spike that's more than a 10% spike over where it had been. Yikes. That's not good news. I looked at the New York Times website yesterday, something I tried rarely to do, and 4 out of the 5 top op-eds on the website were calling on Biden to drop out. And one of the op-eds was touching on the Biden issue, but it wasn't explicitly calling on him to drop out of the race. But 4 out of 5 of the op-eds on the New York Times, the house organ of the liberal establishment. Brutal news. That was a great clip. Now, ring the bell, please. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.